Just there it is. There it is. Oh, there we go. I gotta update the welcome to the show area. It doesn't actually say the right name. It says Raerin, but we all know that Bastard got what he got. How's the song go again?
Bastard Raerin deserves to be a god.
To what?
Raerin deserves what he gets.
Hang on.
I thought I was being funny. Apparently not. And aren't you a the hell is the name of your race? The furry?
A kitsune.
Yeah, that's right.
And yes, you do have all three of
Did
us.
anyone see that?
Three of
I
us
did.
plus Scott.
I was hoping I got it through.
I saw the hand flourish.
Did we need a
Reference:
switcheroo?
my character doesn't have ears because I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
in kitsune hiding their true being.
There needs to be some switcheroosies happening.
Oh, sorry. Ha.
Thanks, Tesh, aka a professional streamer.
This
I
takes-
mean, I can
this
play
is
Ilen if you want.
Weird.
You know?
You
switching.
put me.
No. It's
how we
in
go?
Zoom. If you drag and move a name, you don't get to choose where it goes. They just kind of flop around. So like if I just try to move just me and Tash,
Now I'm the DM.
if I just try to move just one person, it just goes ham and it switches everybody.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
If
Huzzah.
you double a critical range from 18 to 20, does it become 16 to 20? What does it become?
So the way it works is this: count from 18 to 20, 18, 19, 20, then double that. That's 3 times 2 is 6.
Oh,
now go
okay.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15.
Wowza.
Raerin had that, didn't he? Or was he a 17 to 20?
He was like less than that.
17 to 20, yeah, so, yeah. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, it's absolutely brokenly amazing. You have to update a lot of things. What's that? What does that mean, Anno? Update a lot of things. And hi, everybody. How are we doing today? Hi, boys. It's been a long time. We're actually at Hype Train level 4. We just entered into it, which is nice. Improved critical is good. Improved critical is good. When you get higher levels, you can grab that.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, there you go. It's sexy. It's nice when you make a character that's like, I don't know, level 11, level 9, definitely level 13 for a lot of classes. You walk in being like crazy powerful. Like crazy powerful.
Yeah. Let's hope he does okay. We'll see.
And dead for session.
So I actually have a friend who, in his first D&D campaign ever, died in the second session in the first few minutes.
So that's what happened to me as well.
So
My first ever Pathfinder campaign.
when Mathis went from playing with this other group, because it was just like in the area where I grew up, I kind of brought D&D to the area. Like I started the D&D club in high school. I made
That's
like a
not
bunch of
all
different
you brought
groups
to the area.
because I grew up playing D&D, as you know, as a kid. But my so gross. But like there were like a bunch of different groups I played with, and some of those DMs became some of those PCs became DMs of their own groups, and one of them is like where Mathis started playing D&D from an old PC of mine. I never played a PC in his campaigns though, because he was not a good DM. Point in fact, when Mike first came to me, he was only played like 2 or 3 campaigns ever, and he was like, "Oh my god, I love my character. I'm playing in this new campaign we just started." And when I say campaigns ever, they were short ones, like 4 or 5 sessions. He's like, "Can I play it in your game?" I was like, "What are you playing?" He's like, "I'm playing." It was a half dragon were tiger, druid monk level 11 or something like that. I'm like,
Damn.
what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Again, mind you, I used to be a bit of a gatekeeper back then. So I was like, no, what do you want to play? A druid or a monk? He's like, I guess a druid. Cool, you're level 1. He's like, oh no. And so he played like a human druid level 1, whatever it was. So we're doing his first session. Before I introduced him to my other PCs, I had him doing a solo session. Anyways, he ended up jumping into a pit of like lions or tigers or something like that, of like creatures that had been starved and abused into like a fighting arena, and he jumped into them because he was like being like goofy or whatever it was to the people around, and he figured he's gonna wild empathy into them into fighting his fights for him. So he jumped in and rolled like a natty one on wild empathy. His character got mauled to death and died, and I was like, cool, do you want to make a new character now? And he's like, that was the most intense thing ever. This is amazing. And that was literally how Mike and I became like D&D friends. So
that's fantastic.
and if he told you that story, which I think we did in War Stories Forever Go and Lost Initiative, if he told you that story, it would be more or less that same exact story. He would just go into some of the details about the campaign he came from because he knows them, but like how the DM had a crush on a girl that was there, and like, so her character's immortal. Like, she used to try to die because she hated her character, but he didn't realize that. So he was just like, her character's so edgy and awesome. And it's like, when she actually like committed suicide, she was re-risen as like a quasi-god or something like that. And she's like, fuck. And he's like, please date me. Like, it was just...
That is worrying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even more funny when, like, because adding a bit of IRL into it, he's actually happily married to a man now. Like, he just was... not fully realizing who he was as a person. He is now completely happily married to a guy. He was just doing that whole, I need to chase this to lie to myself. So like, when you add the real life part into it, you're like, talking about the DM.
Like, yeah, but like, you got a crush on me and Raerin's dead. Like, you didn't just, you deleted him.
Yeah.
Is it because you felt he was competition for my love?
You notice
Control
how I'm mean to the people that I like? I fucking murder the people I love. Let's just say, when was the last time I heard Brittany's voice? Oh, God. Just kidding. Aklo
Clip it.
5,000 bits to that. He was like, I could donate to that. He was like, this is for your defense fund. Oh, Jesus. I'm just kidding, for the record. All right. Hi.
Yeah.
How do we follow up with that?
I don't know. Like, you just said you murdered your wife, so
jokingly,
like a nondescript amount of time ago.
It was pretty nondescript. Nope. All right, so let us pull this in a bit. As opposed to Jake who pulls it out. Let's pull this in a bit. Jake, if you could for me, could you actually go ahead and, not a full recap of the last game, of course, the last session. Could you give us a little bit of a recap from Grishka's perspective? What transpired for him? What it was that he experienced leaving the Temple of Time, right? And no, my apologies, not leaving the Temple of Time. In what's his name? Vroga's temple. Kind of like the ritual up until now. If you want to give us a little bit of a recap. And this is for the sake of people that are choosing not to watch all of Kingmaker and are kind of jumping in to Planewalker.
So we had some news that there was something going on with the souls not going to where they were supposed to or something, and Grishka decided he would go to his god Vroga's realm and see what was going on. So he and his companions 2 and 3 went planet traveled to that realm, where they adventured through it, lost some companions, and Grishka ended up finding out that he had to go see Nankara, which if he would have done in the first place, everything would be different. But he then tried to, or he had to travel by these gates through different planes. I think first was the water plane and then the salt plane, which was dying and just collapsing before he made his way back to the negative energy plane, where he met up with Ilen, and they talked to Nankaro, who then filled him in on everything that was going on. he also found out that Raerin had gone into non-existence.
Kicked the bucket.
So practically everyone that was close to Grishka just died in the matter of like a very short time. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
And well, it did end with him finally getting to be where he needed to go, and the conversation and getting answers to his questions.
Yeah.
The ISO or whatever it is, my camera's so off, like the coloration's so off, it's hilarious. So anyways, so I finally got answers, and then this is gonna bring us over to Ilen. And Ilen, where he was in the Temple of Time. What he witnessed there, how it was he reacted, and kind of his own perspective of where things should transpired.
So, found out all the stuff about oh wow, I've already forgotten his name. The brother, the dude who got let out of the temple, which doesn't bother us at the moment. That's future problems, if there are future problems. Then Raerin got gobbled up by an ooze and disappeared. So Ilen followed through the chest that they had of the items, ending up in the negative plane, nearly dying just because of existing in the negative plane, then getting caught in a giant war between the negative plane and the fire plane, getting picked up by the Burning Legion, someone giving him Burning Legion credentials. Still hasn't investigated that. And then eventually making a deal with a lady that was able to teleport him straight to the Earth plane, then getting picked up, taken to the negative plane, finding out that he needed to come back to the negative plane anyway, then getting rescued by the angel from the Earth people who were very unhappy with the fact that I was positive energy charged, and took me to Nankara, or actually it took me to one first, and then took me to Nankara, and we did all the talking and finding out stuff, and finding out that Raerin died, and that was all for nothing.
And the last one I was going to give a perspective was actually Raerin's perspective of what it was that had transpired. And then I'm going to pull it into describing where the characters currently are, what they're currently experiencing, and so on and so forth. And there he is, me talking really slowly with long breaks to give him time to sip his tea. And
It's just water.
oh, that's exactly what I have, but hot water. All right, so Raerin's perspective, Time Temple, and on.
So they investigated the Time Temple with a bunch of other seemingly adventurers, though they knew them really that they were terrorists. That said, they teamed up to investigate the situation, and each of them sort of adopted a special ability from the temple that allowed them to make it to the top. And we discovered that the top was where time is anchored. There's a sort of pinion point for it there, and it was not working as it should be. So we came to the conclusion quite quickly that someone would have to take the place. However, before we got any further than that, a giant slime appeared, at which point Raerin, with the knowledge of story in mind, did not use his ability to teleport down to the lower chambers. He let the slime take him because he doesn't want to make Scott's life difficult. And then he got transported to the sign plane, where he spent several months, potentially undescribed amounts of time, attempting to A, find a way out, B, contact people, which he struggled with immensely. Eventually, he contacted the Barbed Devil accidentally. Or rather, he contacted Phaedril, who sent the Barbed Devil to him. They had a brief discussion, at which point the Barbed Devil gave him a bag. Raerin, of course, being Raerin, gave him his own sack back in a rude manner. and then they went their own way. Raerin decided to use this bag to formulate an escape plan, which backfired because I rolled terribly. But it did get an audience with the slime god, who's a total cock and a hypocrite, and said, "You're not allowed to deal with souls. That's my dealing. I'm only I'm allowed to do that. By the way, I needed those souls to feed to a giant being that we only know as entropy that will eat the souls and not eat my kingdom. I'm going to feed you to that. Bye." And then yeets him down into this entropy where Raerin gets Thanos snapped. However, we do know that several parts of the Black Blade were in Raerin's hands. So entropy probably has a terrible case of indigestion, possibly bowel obstruction, maybe even perforation. So, we could be winning the battle anytime now, this campaign could be superfluous. That's it. That's all I got.
Well done.
Due to internal bleeding.
Yeah. It's like, oh god, I ate Mel. Oh, shards. And then it dies and it shits out a new world.
Oh,
and that's it.
Is that how that works?
Like a new universe, a new plane.
And funny enough, because it was the last thing that it ate, Neil's the god. Raerin's the god of the
Raerin's
world.
the god, yeah.
Wow. Look at
My
that.
God.
He's the over god of the new world. Oh man, you know what? That would actually make Green really happy. Let's do
I think it would actually.
Yeah. I'm not sure what we'd call that new world. Probably just a waste of time, but Raerin would be the over god of this new world. It'd be nice.
I think it would be nice.
Yeah. All right. I'm reading Anno's response right there. Hilarious.
And technically, Raerin wouldn't create any devils. So there'd be no dealing with devils. It's all godly dealings. So Norway is down with that. As long as it's done by gods, it's okay.
Oy vey. All right. And on licorice? Is that word spelled so weird? Is it licorice like the candy? Like Twizzlers? Because if that's licorice like the candy like Twizzlers, licorice is nasty. It's like one of the most disgusting flavors. When I use fennel in like a recipe, I use like 1/4 or 1/5 the amount of fennel called for, because fennel smells and tastes like licorice. So it has to be vastly overpowered. The only licorice flavored thing that I ever endure is Colombiano, is a type of liquor, which some people very much enjoy. And so my cousin Miguel, back when he was still around and we would drink together, he would always want to do shots of Colombiano. And so nasty. But I would respect the wish and drink with the man. Ugh. It's so like licorice is like boomer flavor. It's really what it
Sambuca
is.
is disgusting.
What?
I'll be honest.
What'd you say?
I was replying to Will. Sambuca is disgusting.
So yeah, Sambuca is so gross. Yeah, so gross. No, I can't. I can't. It's like licorice is like one of those flavors, like candy corn. Like old people like it, but like,
I like licorice,
real
to be
people
fair.
don't.
Like, I will happily eat licorice as a sweet, not salted licorice, but I will happily eat like licorice as a sweet. But I don't like licorice. Like, that's it. It's licorice is that for me. I don't like, but it's the same. I really like coffee, but I don't really like coffee flavored desserts, chocolates, that sort of thing.
I hear you on the not going coffee flavored, but obviously I'm addicted to coffee like crazy.
Even if it's got real coffee in it, like, so it's not just coffee. You know what I mean? Like, It's not fake coffee flavor. I just.
Yep, I gotcha. Well, anyways, hi everybody. We're here now. We're doing this thing. Are you ready to get started?
I think we should leave it another 5 minutes just to tilt Norway.
Why specifically Norway?
He said anywho. He doesn't want this chat business. He's done with it.
I mean, it would probably like trigger Snaga. Sit there being like,
so we should do it then, right? Is what you're saying?
No. Listen. Out of the campaigns, this is the most productive one, out of the three.
boy.
This is by and far and most consistently the productive campaign.
Which is honestly horrifying to me, considering what happens in our campaign.
Oh yeah, it really is.
Listen,
Don't be TK.
Thronekeeper literally starts with a 5-hour podcast. Like they can't play without a 1-hour podcast. And Regicide, we just goof around most of it. So
slight aside, I do understand that because I love hanging out with you guys, so it's easy to understand how you want to chat. That said, Scott, ram us into the action. Stop with the lubrication. Let's go.
Okay, stop lubricating.
Ram Jake and Tesh right in there. Come on.
Okay, well that's something for poor Canadian sleepyhead walks
not
in.
Self-destruct.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, they just joined in chat and you're just like ram Jake and Tesh right in there. Like, hello. Oh, ooh, let me get.
Oh no.
Anyways, so hi. You are when last we left off. Excuse me, actually. When last we left off, is this like D&D? Pathfinder is an edition of Dungeons and Dragons. It's one of the it's 3.75 effectively, as opposed to 5e, which is what a lot of people play. So when last we left off, you had Grishka and Ilen were inside the negative energy plane, having a conversation, kind of a collaboration with the god of the negative energy plane, the Arbiter, or Nankaro, whatever you want to call him, having kind of like a meeting of the minds and a plan to move forward. And you came to an understanding. The way that things work in this multiverse, in this world, the way that things work is that there's a concept or a creature or whatever it is known as entropy. Entropy slowly breaks down everything over time, consuming gods, as seen in the salt plane, potentially consuming whole planes, unless they're staved off, unless their hunger is satiated from time to time. Excuse me. My apologies. It is only 7:42 a.m. over here, and I was up very late. And because I have to open up a water instead of coffee, yawns. So anyways, unless it's temporarily satiated here and there. As stated, by Neil at the beginning of this, he wanted those 10,000 souls to take a good portion of them and kind of throw them into entropy to satisfy its hunger. You were informed of this because as a newly risen god, Nankaro was not very happy. The Arbiter is not very satisfied with the way that things work in the world. As an Arbiter, as somebody who's looking to finds the appropriate dealings or center ground for all involved, he is not satisfied with the idea that these other gods just constantly take these souls and throw them into the abyss. And moreover, having had consort or collaboration or whatever with Grishka's god Vroga, Grishka realizes that Vroga is also not happy with these dealings. That this is so that he can't quite explain, as he hasn't chosen which side of the war that he needs to be on. So you guys are informed of this, and informed that he believes that this is all wrong, that this can potentially be reversed or ended, so on and so forth. And so he's kind of tasked with the responsibility or the adventure, whatever you want to call it, to go and find an old and dead god, and to do so by traveling through the deeper reaches of the astral plane itself. I keep feeling another yawn coming on. It's so freaking annoying.
To be clear, there is currently a god war in progress, and the current sides we have are the Arbiter and the Martyr, the newest inner plane gods to be risen, versus the other inner plane gods, as far as we can tell. We don't know how active they are, whether it's cold or
At the
hot.
very least, the fire and earth are actively engaging.
But as far as we know, there's no outer plane gods involved yet. but we suspect from the information given that outer plane gods will be pulled in when the time is right, because they have like a duty to uphold. So it's not that unlikely that Grishka's god will be forced to join in a side that he doesn't really believe in, but that's because the divine order of things.
Thank you. All right. Part of what was understood is it's believed that there are different types of gods. It's believed that the reason why you're given this task is to believe that there's different types of gods. There are the gods that rule the inner planes that are risen from the position of mortals, as seen with actual Nankaru or the Arbiter himself, or as seen with what's her name, the Martyr, or what's her other name there. Tene, whatever it is.
Vene.
Vene, thank you. With Vene herself. And the Outer Planes gods, which the Outer Planes gods are believed to have always been, as opposed to truly being able to be consumed. This is why the Arbiter is sending you out there. He wants you to find the corpse of an old god and see if they truly can be, because if this is entropy, if it's true entropy, entropy devours everything in its entirety. It no longer exists. Has existed in the past, like it erases it from all of history, but it no longer exists moving forward. So it's believed that when entropy gets their hands on these other gods, that they can be devoured down, but never truly consumed. Kind of like how an owl will consume a mouse or rat, right? There's still pellets left behind afterwards. As opposed to, like, say, an astral dragon consuming gems, where they now no longer exist at all. They don't poop. So when we last left off, we actually saw Grishka and Ilen having the conversation with the Arbiter, and him explaining to them that he has an ally that might be able to assist him in this task. After that conversation ended, and the two of them were given an opportunity to rest inside the realm of the Arbiter, where, even though you're inside the negative energy plane, the effects of the plane are actually to be staved off for the two of you. He's able to completely control the influence of the plane within his realm, and so the place is made comfortable for the two of you, giving you time to actually truly rest. But more than that, while together, also have an opportunity to mourn the loss of Raerin, and to contemplate what it is that you need to do moving forward. Jumping forward a few days' time in the game, we're actually going to have kind of like a look at a moment with Ilen and Grishka. They spent a bit of time together since they reconnected, but also having spent so much time apart, especially Grishka, have kind of also had an opportunity to enjoy being separated a bit. Not to mention, even though you guys did rule a nation together, adventure together, it's like you spent every day together anyways, right? So you can imagine your characters have kind of seen each other in passing, had a bit of conversations. But this is a few days after the full conversation where the full scope of things have been brought to bear for the two of you. And knowing that you're going to be leaving this realm soon to be adventuring elsewhere, I'll actually pull it down to the two of you, give you a moment to kind of get into your characters' minds as you have to contemplate what it is that's been going forward. To bring it actually in, you can imagine you've been recently informed you'll be leaving in what is effectively 2 days' time. Time here, you're not sure if it flows the same as time back home, but you certainly feel it as time back home. So let's pull it back in to the two of you having just recently been informed. Actually, we'll say another came into the chamber where the two of you happen to be and informed you. The Arbiter wanted you to know that you'll be leaving in 2 days' time to start your voyage and your quest. And they would give like almost like a nod. It would turn and walk out of the room, leaving just the two of you there.
Grishka would look at Ilen and say, it seems that he's found someone to take us then.
Yeah. Seems so. It's still wrapping my head around this.
I don't think we can. Like, the more I've been thinking about it, what we're being asked to do is...
insane.
That's the exact word I was thinking of. And, I mean, I've seen some pretty insane things, but this may just top it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was having
What
a
is?
conversation with Raerin about how strange definitely is not abnormal to us, and yet things kept getting weirder, and it's continued that way.
Yeah, it sure has. I know it's something we must do, but the scope of what we're being asked is mind-blowing. Not only that, and he'll let out a long sigh and say, I've nearly lost everyone in such a short time. I mean, I've lost things before. I've lost people, friends, but nothing like this. My brother, gone. I don't know what's up with Yara, whether she lives or dies, or died. And then to find out Raerin, I don't think I've really accepted it yet. We've just been fed so much information that it's kind of, I can't think about it. I don't want to.
It just doesn't seem real yet. I spent I don't know how many days with one sole focus of doing anything I could to get to Raerin as fast as possible. And then just like that, it's over.
There's a part of me that wishes I didn't go. But then I know it was something I had to do. You know, I blamed Nankaro a bit, probably unfairly. He could have stopped me going. But it was my decision. I did what I thought was right. Also, if we somehow pull off this monumental task we've been given, nothing will be the same. And the way Nankara speaks, I don't know if we'll ever go back. Or better yet, they'll let us back. I do want to see Valorant again one day, even in passing.
Same.
Our time has moved from there.
If we can do this, surely there must be something they could do to let us go back, even if it's just to say goodbye properly.
I hope so. I mean, I question myself because I give everything in service to Brogar, and there is no doubt in my mind that it's the right thing to do. But when Nankara would not even let us send a parting message, it did not sit right with me. We've done so much,
There's,
especially for him. And now we commit to do more. Not even a goodbye.
Yeah, I just hope that. I wish that there was some way to tell at least a couple of them what happened. Why we're gone.
Did you know back when me, Valorant, and Raerin were breaking the curses in Adir, we came across Kithel in the keep that we made our home, and we were climbing out on a rope, and as I got to the top, I thought Kithel might have been part of the curse, and I was getting ready to cut the rope and let him fall. I looked to Raerin and Valorin.
Well,
I
I'm
missed
very
them.
glad you didn't. I assume you didn't. Did you?
I didn't.
Good.
Their look was enough. They helped me, both of them.
So,
I act rashly, and I do things that I think are right. Sometimes they are, and sometimes a little bit of guidance from those you care about most goes a long way.
in the same way, I sometimes don't act as rashly as I should. And I'm sure it was the same with Valorin. Just... I've been following what I assumed was some form of destiny. I don't know if I ever really thought about it, about whether it was fate or just what the martyr wanted.
You know, it's been harder on you in a sense of you had this thrust upon you. We did this. And then when Valorin passed, his soul, his being went to you. And to have that happen all of a sudden, oh, can't imagine it was easy.
It definitely wasn't, but if it hadn't been for that, then the fate for myself and my family would have been much worse. So
Looks like Valorin made the right choice again.
hopefully.
Well, Ilen, this is... Well, we better get started.
Yeah.
You've had enough reminiscing for now.
They'll just nod. You are muted for us, at least.
Maybe because I was making loud yawns. I was trying to get it out of my system. I could already still feel them like building up in here, and it's so frustrating.
Make yourself a coffee.
No, I'll do that in a little bit. It's fine. So anyways, when you guys kind of like finish your conversation, you go back to what you were doing prior, which was kind of, keeping yourself, what's what I'm looking for? Kind of keeping to yourselves, giving yourselves time to really, contemplate what it was that had transpired, kind of like what your part is going to play in all of this. For Grishka, seems like a little bit of a grudge, even towards the Arbiter himself, about not being allowed to write like a thank you card or something like that. I mean, he was allowed to, send a couple of important artifacts across the plains, including the recreation of a new item for them. But that's not enough. Including even sending them in the hands of an angel, which might be considered a message of sorts. But he didn't get to say, "Dear Kithel, I just wanted to say you were the rock of our home. Dear..."
Sounds like, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be a bigger person.
Anyways, so no. It sounds like there's a bit of a bitterness there. And so there's a much of contemplation, which is perhaps why it is that he's kind of keeping a little bit to himself during this time. And by no means would he have a grudge against Ilen in any of this. But even, when it comes to Ilen himself, it's kind of like, you didn't have to experience what I did. I had to send away 3 in hopes that she didn't, in hopes that she would live, and so on and so forth. So I imagine he also wants a degree of this like separation to kind of like process everything himself. And same thing for Ilen, who witnessed all the crazy things that he did, including the tram and the fire plane, It's the feeling for him, how vast and how massive the multiple planes of existence he went to were, might be
And if
giving him
that's just like part of it, and now we're going into an even more vast sort of
a place
everything.
a place of nothing, effectively. Yeah, is a lot to take in. It's like when you look up at the sky on a clear like winter's night, and you just stare at the stars. You know, and you get like a decent view of a good number of them, and you realize, yeah, you're nothing. You know, you're this like speck of a speck of a speck of a speck in the grand scheme of the universe. You're just this tiny little nothing. And I imagine he's kind of like having one of those introspective moments. So 2 days pass easily, of course, with almost nothing transpiring before finally you're not quite summoned, right? That's not really how it is that is going to work in the realm of a god. You just kind of know that it's time. You just kind of know.
My Nankaro senses are tingling.
Nah. Where is that region? Is that like down like where? I'm not sure where.
I'm not gonna go there.
Oh, well, apparently Nakaro will.
Oh, there's something I forgot actually, Scott. Could I, during that time, have spoken with somebody there about Lenny?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name you actually gave him that was very close to Lenny. But yeah, he needs to go to the material plane.
His name is not Lenny.
Take him with the artifacts. Take him to our kingdom. Be like, hey, this is his friend.
Scott, just accept it.
The angel can take that, but Lenny helped him get there, so he'll help Lenny get to the material plane.
Chat spoken is Lenny.
I literally can't remember what his actual name is because all I remember is Lenny.
I swear Scott named him something like it was like probably like Lonnie or something. It was something ridiculously close to Lenny.
Lonnie.
Christ's sakes, his name is not Lenny.
Alright, so can I have arranged that for him?
Annoying. You can arrange it for your cephalopod friend, or Ceph as we were calling him for short. But not for Lenny. You cannot arrange it for Lenny. Anyways, so yeah.
No, Joey. I did eventually ask him, and he gave me a name that was like I said,
there was
very
eventually
close to Lenny.
given.
Yeah. But yeah, so as long as he was fine, when we do get kind of feel that time, Grishka will get up and he'll actually call to Phaedra and say, it's time, let's go.
So, to arrange for things like having the cephalopod transport to the material plane, you imagine it doesn't happen immediately, right? This is one of those things where later on you might be like, oh shit, yeah, we should probably make sure he's taken care of, because you were brought to this plane, but he wasn't, right? He was left elsewhere, and you're like, oh, sorry, buddy, bye.
At least there was something about him being safe for now or something.
Yeah, correct. Yep. Yeah. So you can arrange for that to be done, and they're not going to argue with you on it. They're totally going to take that creature and drop him into the Patreon run Kingmaker series. Don't even worry about it. It's all great. It's all great. Everything's the best. It's cool. Just do me a favor. Do me a tiny little favor. Can you wave hi to Green for me?
Oh, why is that?
Don't worry about it.
Oh no.
Don't even worry about it.
I like that was like a symbol that he's like set up. He's like, Green, when the PC waves, drop the TC. He's like, can one of you wave for me? Jake's like, and you're about to see Norwegian Green drop to TC.
Guys, I just got an idea, because I'm brilliant. I just got an idea. Can you, with all of your saved daddies, affect their campaign?
Whose campaign?
So there is the
I know what you're talking about now.
Raerin, right? Is being run by like the group of patrons on Patreon.
I'll be honest. They're already incompetent enough. We're not going to damage their chances.
So I'm just saying, you don't want to allow them to have like luck dice, or maybe give like daddy's dice over there, or maybe some trump cards
get
and
that
stuff
decision?
at them.
I think what we should do is we're going to give the Patreon crew in charge of Valorant access to RC's luck dice going forward, so that they're going to have a pool of luck available.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see if they end up wanting to do it. I'm just saying that the door is now open. That was your former state. Maybe getting them back for some of the shit that they did to you might be a little fun for you guys. But that's your
It's
choice.
our kingdom. Why would we want
The
to
problem
damage
is we
our
don't want
kingdom?
to. Yeah, we don't want to screw up Valorant.
I mean, maybe then you could do things like luck dice or fortune's favors.
Myson's
But we
the
also
high
don't wanna help
priest.
them.
Oh my lord, things have gone downhill. Why?
Bison is the hype.
Who should we have the high priest in our country? Well, the mushroom man.
The mushroom man. The mushroom man.
The mushroom man who lives
the
down
mushroom
the way.
His way of communicating is appropriately invasive for religion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Take me into yourselves.
Oh no.
Myson is not a part of Valorant, to be clear.
Okay.
He is
Because
not.
he is actually a murderer. Like, let's make that clear.
The priest that's high. Oh, jeez. He's not a murderer. Okay, false claims. All right. It's like the guy holding the bloodied axe, you know, with a bit of skull still attached to it. He just, everybody's looking at him like shock or chagrin, and he's just like, at the mushroom, and people are like, oh, all right, and they go and like roast up the mushroom.
It's like, what about Myson for the high priest? Wait, you mean that mushroom man who cultivated 3 square miles of deadly toxic mushrooms just south of the kingdom that killed people? Yeah.
Wait, that happened?
No,
Yeah,
their game never. I got it caught up, so like it's now ready for them to take over with 11 unrest. They lost 2 hexes, and there's currently 11 unrest, and they're literally about to do their first kingdom rolls. The reason why there's 11 unrest is because the rulers just kept leaving.
I was more talking about the toxic thing.
I mean, I didn't have a choice.
You were the only one that did it.
So,
The one that died for her.
oh, poor Neil. He's getting this taste in his mouth. This bitter taste. Moving on. You characters go. So yes, the Ceph has been appropriately handled. He is able to be sent to the material plane. Once again, if you want to wave hi to Green one more time, you're welcome to do so.
I've done it once. Once enough.
Okay, cool. Cool.
You're saying that because Green's a paladin, and the Ceph's an aberration, and he's going to hunt him down.
No.
Cut off his hands. Except he hasn't got hands, so I'll cut the tongue or something instead.
I will say there's a reason why I'm saying say hi to Green and not to Steve or Anno or Joey. That's all I'll say. All right. So you guys go to meet up with Nankaru, where he is again willing to have a bit of a candid conversation. When you guys go up and kind of walking into his chambers or wherever it is that he rules. What?
Right.
Walking into wherever it is that he rules, he actually will kind of turn to the 3 of you and the 2 of you and say, I would like you to meet someone I've become acquainted with, somebody who I think might be willing to assist you in these matters. And he actually will step to the side a little bit and reveal for you a woman standing there. This woman has very strange features. from anything that you've seen. Well, I suppose that's not true. You both have gone plane walking for a little bit. You've seen some weird people. She has very strange features to her. Her skin color is this slightly greenish, almost like off yellow color. She stands tall and somewhat gaunt in her look. Her arms slightly longer proportionately to her body than a typical human or elf or whatnot would be. But again, just incredibly thin. Her teeth themselves seem to be predominantly sharpened or sharper than that of a typical person. Her eyes slightly larger for her face than is, once again, you typically find in, say, a human or so on and so forth. Kind of like get some sort of snap
Alien.
filter on. Yeah, alien, right?
Green skin, tall, lanky, sharp teeth, big eyes, alien.
Well, not quite that green,
kidding,
but yes, of course. And her hair on the top of her head is not bald. Her hair on the top of her head is like a wiry black color. Not fully black, like one of those so dark brown, it almost looks like it's completely black. So not quite jet black. And it's tied back into a pretty tight braid, running down to almost like the top center of her back. She stands there before you. She has a sword strapped to one of her sides and another one strapped to her back. The clothing she wears is a combination of like loose cloths that show a degree of, what's the word I'm looking for? Flexibility to them, with also a bit of metal thrown in very keen areas. Kind of like guarded spots, like not quite breastplate, right? But little bits of metal kind of like thrown in certain areas that you imagine are design spots where she often throws as defense, including one pauldron that she has on. One of her knees also covered in a bit of metal. He gestures to this woman, step into the side, and it does take a moment for you to realize or identify this fact that she is a woman, because, her features are just so different. But then again, you kind of like, okay, no, I believe with whatever species or creature this is, that's a female right there. Boobs. So, so throw it out there. It steps aside to reveal her, giving you a moment, Joey. Giving her a moment to let you kind of like see her as he says, allow me to introduce you to Krintata, Captain Krintata. And she'll kind of, give
Krintata. I'm muted now, guys. You know what?
Oh, that's...
Oh, look at that. He faded away.
Oh, too soon.
Oh.
Too soon.
Oh, wow.
All right. Let me get a...
How do you spell Cortana? Is it with a K or a C?
With a K, sorry.
Cool. Oh, he's gone. Yeah, he's just... Thanos snapped out of existence. Oh, there he is.
Thank you, Deal. I appreciate that. All right. Nina, need a cloth?
Jeez.
Steve, Jesus Christ. All right, so you what is it? He gestures to her, says, "This is Krintata, Captain, Krintata." She gives each of you kind of like a bit of a nod. He says, she's somewhat familiar with the areas that you'll be traveling through, and so she will be willing to bring you on a bit of a voyage. It was a small ask for her to be willing to allow you to voyage along with her as you go for this search, for this endeavor. But I believe an appropriate arrangement has been made that will be mutually beneficial. She will bring you to the farthest reaches, to wherever it is that you need to go, following the various leads throughout the plane. And in exchange, you will work as hands on her ship.
fair.
Ilen wouldn't do the whole hand thing. He
Okay.
would
I was
nod.
like, does he do that? You just nod.
Ilen's thinking that, like, hang on a second.
She actually, what?
It's okay. I was just thinking I can just summon monster and make them do it.
She'll actually look at the two of you, and one of you being like, okay, and the other one being like, fair. She'll actually look at the two of you and say, she has a voice that, funny enough, sounds like mine. She has a voice that's very raspy sounding. So if you almost imagine everything like, say, the 1920s and 30s, like that like heavy kind of a rasp type of singing voice. But this, of course, is a female's voice. She's a very, very raspy voice. And I don't mean, what the hell is, what's her name from Hunger Games? That actress.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Thank you. And I don't mean Jennifer Lawrence rasp either, which is like a wicked awesome voice, right? Jennifer Lawrence is a super cool voice. I mean like much heavier than that, right? So anyways, she has a very, very raspy voice, almost like a smoker's voice. Jake, did you blush? Do you have a thing for Jennifer Lawrence? It's okay.
Who doesn't?
Listen. One of my favorites, Rosario Dawson, always one of my absolute favorites, is dating Cory Booker. Okay.
I swear, if you meet Jake IRL, he's going to put you in a ring, in a cage with a kangaroo.
I'd win.
Yeah.
I'd win. I'd fuck it up.
You would not.
You would not. That thing would
You can
absolutely
fuck
destroy you.
Oh, you
You've
guys-
seen that raptor claws?
Hold
But
on.
I digress.
I'm so sorry. I'm American.
Maybe if we put you in with a wallaby or something, then you know, give
They're
you
just,
a
they're
good
just
fighting chance.
shorter kangaroos.
They're a lot shorter.
Oh, they just shoot.
I mean,
If
if you're going to bring a gun, we'll just put you in. We'll just put you in with an
RPG
ED.
or something that you bought at Walmart.
Jesus Christ, Viking! I hate you so much. All right, let's start with the Joey. Oh God.
Honestly, kangaroos are buff as fuck. I don't know if a one bullet would nearly be enough to take him down unless it was from like a heavy caliber.
Again,
I'm talking to an American. Yeah. We're talking about one bullet. That's never an option.
Yeah, one bullet is never an option unless it's a shotgun. One bullet is never an option. Okay, and even
Well,
then,
I mean, he's going to be there with armor-piercing bullets as well, because like, you know, you need to be able to deal with 30 to 40 wild arms.
Oh,
my God, it's so
Nuts.
I missed Neil. Oh.
It's been too long.
Oh God. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that joke has been said a few times as well.
Oh, Donkey's here. What's up, Donkey? Oh, please. Oh, God. So, anyways, moving on. She actually, kind of like taking in the sight of the both of you, with her very heavily raspy voice, will actually say to the two of you, you need not to worry. You're not going to be pulling at ropes or setting rudders or any some such. You're capable. Magic, sword, whatever it is you choose to do, talk them to death for all I care. You're capable.
There's a sigh at that and a look of sadness. Talk them to death. No, because I don't do that anymore.
She says, that's what I'll need. We hunt, but understand, we're also hunted.
Okay.
That's fine.
Understood.
Nankara will say to you, your voyage is designed to bring you through the astral plane, again, into the forest reaches, but occasionally you might find yourself in other places as well. I'm going to give to you 2 gifts. These will hopefully keep you comfortable as you're making your voyages along. He actually will produce for you, each of you, a ring comprised of a type of metal, whatever it is, that's so black that it seems to almost consume the light around it. Oh, we've talked about this before. Fenta Black or whatever the hell it's called.
Venta.
Venta Black. That's what it
Not
is.
Fanta Black. That's a new drink coming out this year.
Yeah.
Do you pee black?
Not actually Fanta, but it's orange.
You will now.
Oh, that's funny. That would be cool if there was like a Fanta. Anyways, so so he hands you these rings, and you're able to take the rings, and he says this gives you complete immunity and, dare I say, even affinity with the plane that I call my home. It'll make it so that you will be able to survive here indefinitely due to its negative effects. That won't help you too much with where you're going. So that's why it does come in unison with this here. And he actually will produce for you a small little box. You can imagine it's almost like an Altoids tin or something along those lines, right? A small little box. Whatever the material is, it feels or looks like it could be wood, but once again, it almost has kind of like an inky or a dark smoky color to it. You're not sure if it's wood or not, but it has that kind of like almost grainy texture. When you open it up and look inside, you can see there's 24 seats that happen to exist inside there, 24 little like seats. He says consuming one of these would make it so that it gives you the effects of being here on overall superseding wherever it is that you might happen to be. I believe bar none. So if you find yourself in a place that is hostile to you, consuming one of these would make it so you were instead here in body, even if not literally so. The ring will do the rest.
Would this have worked on the salt plane?
It would have worked anywhere.
20.
And he says, and for that, we part our ways. You for your part in our task, and me in mine.
Yes, well, if we see each other again, it will be in victory. Otherwise... well, otherwise.
Otherwise, indeed.
I've called for Phaedril. I'm not sure if your angel is still holding him up.
Phaedril is not welcome here, but he can join you with where you're going. I don't know if you know this or not, but a creature as weak as he is not capable of traversing the plains. I'll have him transported for you.
You nods.
She looks to you and says, "What is Phaedril?"
Some type of imp.
To that she just nods understanding, doesn't seem to be noted, worried or whatever it is otherwise. She says, if you're done here, then we will begin our voyage.
I guess she's not that green then.
Well.
That hurts me. So she'll actually start walking out of this room. I don't know if you guys follow him or her, sorry.
Yep.
Yep. Just follow, I assume.
Is this a quiet walk as you're walking through this this location? Is it something where you're having conversation with each other, with her, or do you just silently follow?
Probably silently follow. I was gonna. There are questions, but Ilen is not ready to ask them.
She walks.
Grishka might say just more or less what type of ship we getting on. Never been on a ship before.
She will actually turn to regard you and say, "You're from the material plane."
Yes.
Are you familiar? She says, "Have you traveled the oceans?"
No, not personally.
No, but I've heard of it. Stories.
I've heard the stories myself, but I've also heard stories of there being ships, barges, rafts, various other titles as well, that will go across other bodies of water, where you could traverse great lakes or down rivers. Have you done none of these?
We've traversed
We've
rivers
been
and
on a
lakes.
small, very small craft.
So you've experienced that. You understand it.
As much as going on at once that one can.
Our ship will move differently. It's going to catch upon the cosmic winds in the astral plane. It is going to move very quickly. However, you won't entirely be able to notice this. There are no points of reference, and there is no passing air to allow you to feel the rush or see how quickly you're going. But bear in mind, you will still be going. In your previous experience, what would happen if someone went overboard?
We would stop and maybe send them a raft, or go back to get them.
Because there would be a degree of parting between you and them seemingly caught up in where it is that they are, and you pushing on. It does not.
I'm getting the idea that's probably not the case with this.
It isn't. The difference is, should you fall overboard, you do not stop.
Good. Right.
Your trajectory will have been set from before you fell out, and you will continue at extremely rapid paces with nothing to slow you down.
Okay.
The two of you don't know what you're doing. And so, she says, as she walks up to a door and opens it up, I'm going to need you to put something on before we enter in. And as she was walking into the doorway, you can actually see there is a pool of like inky black material. And where she is, you've seen stuff like this before, Ilen, as you were traversing this plane. But the inky black material is that way on the rim, and then it gets to lighter and lighter and lighter shades of black to gray, until eventually you have like a milky white center point of this. Almost like you're staring at an eyeball that was inverted. Like a white pupil into a black eye.
Yep.
Good night, Steve. Try not to melt.
What you mean? Because of the heat wave that's in Australia right now?
Yeah. Because he's in Australia. Steve's 100% Australian. But there's nobody more Australian than Rosin Wynn. Nobody. So Australian. Anyways, she's so Australian she married a Joey. Yeah, that's her husband's name. So, what the hell was I saying? So you were walking in.
Reverse eyeball.
You were walking in, and what you see on the floor, it actually looks like an old-fashioned ball and chain.
Grisha would just look around.
Yeah, it just looks like, wait, what?
Kinky.
Well, he just
Look at
wait
her,
for
it's
instruction.
like- yeah, it's just like, wait, what?
Put that on.
The chain.
Yes.
Grisha would just stand there for a minute, seemingly thinking in his own head.
She would eventually break the silence of you two standing there and say, "Is this complicated?"
No, just confusing as to why.
Things work there differently than what you're familiar with at home. Down is what you choose it to be. And the strength of the down is what you choose it to be.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm sort of understanding. So Ilen, I think, would actually go to start attaching the. Assume there's one for each of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So start attaching it and just. So. This isn't going to so much weigh us down as maybe weigh us to the ship.
Until you can get your legs. Yes.
Okay. Still a little confused, but he would go ahead and like finish doing it up.
You finish attaching it. She looks at you.
Grishka would put his hand on the top of his axe, and he'd say, "I haven't been in one of these for a long time. Well, we'll break it if we need to." And he'll slowly go over and through gritted teeth attach it to his leg.
This is a special material, and it has been enchanted to bind to you. It is not meant to hold you down. It's not meant to keep you down. It's meant to hold you down. So you can actually pick it up and carry it if you would like, but it would be difficult for somebody else to do so. It'll be heavy, but not so heavy as it might seem from another's perspective, should you choose to carry it, which is certainly an easier way to walk than dragging it behind you.
Ilen still struggles to pick it up.
It's like,
I bet they don't actually weigh anything. It's just they're a ball and chain, and because you think, oh, it's a ball and chain, it's heavy. It feels heavy because you're in the astral plane, which then weighs you down.
Astral Plane is whack.
She says, there's one more thing you need to see. You need to learn before we go, because this is important.
Ilen would nod.
Starts to walk towards the center pool. Don't let the current take you, but walk there. Don't enter it yet.
Okay, so wait, does she mean the light part? Because she
Correct.
said don't let the current take. Okay, so Ilen would pick up the ball and start to wade in.
Both of you make me reflex saves.
I had to give up my.
I think I hadn't done it yet.
I'm sorry, did you want to pat in instead?
What do you want? A reflex save, all right.
Oof. You know what? I want to do one of these to see how many we have.
It's all right, that's an 18 for me.
We have 7. Okay, so I got 12. It's not terrible, but not good.
The current isn't so great that it like sweeps you out with a 12, so you're actually fine. Excuse me one second.
Omega yawn.
The astral plane is different than most others. You can traverse there physically, as you're about to do, but you can also traverse there spiritually. As someone going there physically, there are beings that live there, and there are effects that exist that can separate your spirit from your physical body. You do not want to have yourself separated. It makes you susceptible. Allow me to show you what it is that I mean. She actually will reach into a side satchel that she has with her, and she pulls out a strange-looking glove. The glove itself looks to be made out of the same color or material as the plane around. She'll walk forward, kind of judging the two of you on who would be the better option.
She's gonna Doctor Strange us. Just
on who of the two of you would be the better option. And she actually will go over to Ilen. No surprise there. And she actually was Ilen. She actually, funny enough, walks up to you, and she does something similar, but instead of like a pushback, she actually reaches out and kind of like grabs at what feels to be your shirt and pulls forward. Roll me a fortitude save.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh.
Okay. So it was 18 the total?
Yes.
Okay. You actually resist it. And she looks at you and says, "Good. You're strong. I'll be back." She goes over to walks up to Grishka and says, "How about you instead?" And she goes over and she's same idea. She kind of like reaches out to try to grab at you. Fortitude save.
Oh, great.
Oh my god.
Like a rock. Who now wants to give the example? For I can only use this one more time. And then it'll take a while to recuperate its power.
I'll do it.
Grishka. Oh, okay. if Ilen volunteers first, I'll watch.
She turns back to you and says, "Be careful." She says, "Be careful to relax. I'm not going to harm you. Keep that in your mind." She places her hand on you, kind of grabs, and she pulls. This time, your body fighting back instinctively, but you just kind of like mentally forcing yourself to let it go through. And you see, she effectively grabs his spirit, his soul, his astral projection, whatever it is, and pulls it out of his body and takes steps out of the pool, entirely out of the pool. So it's like a 10-foot gap between them, and allows you, Ilen, to kind of like stop and turn and look back at Grishka and your body.
I was about to say, so which am I perceiving? Am I the body or the spirit? Okay, so yeah, it's just, well, this is different.
It is, isn't it? This is a powerful ability to be able to do, should you ever learn how to do it, because you are forming memories and experience with your separation, with your projection. But more than that, your body, your mind still hears and feels what happens where it is. It still experiences. And so the two can become one again, and a blend of experience can come to exist. It is powerful. Understand that. However, she reaches down and she begins to draw the sword. Not down, sorry. She reaches behind her and begins to draw the sword at her back. The sword, unlike anything you've ever seen before. The blade, once again, made out of this off-white, this like milky white color, but different from the others. It has a bit of a sheen to it, but moreover, it's not a solid blade like you imagine a blade is. Looking at the thing as it sits there, it almost seems to have like a movement to it, like a flow or a ripple along it, kind of like solid mercury, but not quite solid mercury. As she holds the blade, she takes the blade and she holds it out, and then she brings it to bear close to Ilen, not to harm him, but brings the blade flat side towards him, close to Ilen, so it's within inches of Ilen's face. As she does so, Ilen, you can actually feel a degree of vulnerability and discomfort. You can feel almost like a slight ringing that happens in your ears and kind of like a shiver through your body. She takes that blade, because once again, kind of like the flat side of it, alongside your face, and she slowly traces along the outside of your body down to a point kind of like in the center of your body where you notice something there that you didn't notice before. There's a string that exists,
The
a
tether.
single thread that exists there, and it ties back, and you can see it shimmering all the way back to your actual body sitting across the ways. There are those that have the power or the instruments to cut this thread. A thread cut means that your link to yourself is severed, and it's not so easily rejoined. Should I cut this right now, you will not simply just be severed, and you can just walk back to yourself and re-enter. A binding of sorts needs to happen for a permanent reconnection to take place. But more importantly, without your soul, your body will wither. And without your body, your soul will become lost. It's only a matter of time.
Okay.
You are more vulnerable here than you have ever been, and even the most precarious of situations than you've ever experienced in your entire life prior. She takes the sword and sheathes it.
Ilen can't. Visible, like, oh.
You know where your body is. You can see it. You can experience it. You know exactly its location. Reach down, grab the tether, give it a bit of a tug.
Ilen does that.
Gives a tug, and you can see, much like a letting go or unlocking a measuring tape. Yep, right back into it, which has a bit of like a reaction. You can actually see the body kind of like stumbles backwards, and it's stumbling backwards, falls kerplunk into the waters below, sending him careening down and into the waters. With a full understanding of what it was he just experienced. Grishka, she looks at you and says, "Do you understand, even if you didn't experience?"
I believe so.
The ones that hunt us are capable of such things, and others we encounter very well may be as well. Do well to guard your soul, because there are those who are willing to take it for this reason or that.
I'll nod in understanding, and then gesture at the pool.
She nods, and you can tell she'll go ahead of you, right? But she's a bit further. She starts walking towards the pool, and when she gets to the edge of it, she's kind of like like a typical pencil dives into it. For you, Tesh, Ilen falls through until all of a sudden he kind of falls out into an area where he feels like he's falling through a tunnel sort of a thing, with the blackness kind of tight and like a him being in a cylindrical tunnel, like a wormhole almost, with the black immediately around. But then that kind of fades and fades and fades more and more until there's just like an open air of white all around. And then as you continue to fall through the white area, you can kind of see that there's something off in the distance that's growing towards you quicker and quicker and quicker as you realize.
No. This is continue.
As you,
that was him realizing that's probably where we're going. Probably too fast.
You're going towards the what's it called? A ship down below as it comes into view. When I say a ship, I'll describe it in a moment. But for now, literally think a ship. Okay. As you're falling down below, eventually you kind of unfortunately come smacking into the ship. But fortunately for you, there's a bit of rigging, netting set up right there to make sure that you are caught. And so as you land hard into this rigging, it's creaking and kind of taking in the impact for you. An impact that does, to be clear, still hurt very much as well. Oh, what, my camera already overheated? Jesus Christ. I really, really need to look into
and there it goes.
getting a damn fan back there. I'm just so busy. I always forget to do shit like that. So you falling into the rigging, and it still hurts immensely, but not the worst thing you've ever felt. And then Neil, from up at the crow's nest, you could actually hear one of your companions call out. I mean, this isn't your home. This is just your temporary home, right? But nonetheless, you've made friends with those that happen to live here. You hear one of your companions call out, "We got one." And kind of looking, you obviously watch the spectacular tumble through the sky. Honestly, a couple of the others around you were placing bets as to whether or not they would actually get caught in the net, and moreover, whether or not they'd survive the fall. Big question. Did you get in on the bet?
Of course.
Okay. And you bet?
A heat splatter.
And of course, he hits the net. It's one of those like, you kind of like hear the call of pain, and one of them was like, damn it, I thought it'd fall on him, like referencing the ball and chain. And so, anyways, somebody else comes over, taps your shoulder for you to pay up, and you
begrudgingly hand over a few coins.
Yep. And so kind of like everybody else is kind of chuckling and whatnot. As Tesh, Ilen kind of looking about the ship, you see there's a couple of different people moving about, and kind of like you're bringing your senses to bear. But one of the people that stands closest to you, maybe the strangest sight again, to say that phrase, that you've seen so far, is literally, well, Neil, describe what they look like. What form are they in? How comfortable are they?
There's a human watching you. There's a human standing there, one arm crossed, the other one holding a smoking pipe. Like, you can tell he's looking at you with a look like, I wish you died. But like, not like malicious, just like, that cost me too much. And he's got this piercing gaze with bright golden eyes. And you can see his face is wrinkled. He looks to be a human in his 40s. He's got smiling wrinkles. He's got the sort of laugh line set in. His hair is reddish, though. That's starting to fade now. It's becoming grayer. He has a small beard, which comes down into a little goatee. Again, it was reddish, but it's mostly shot through with gray now. He looks slim, but tight, like a snake, like a cobra. He's not well muscled, but you get the impression that he's ready to react if something goes on. He stands there with his arms crossed. He's wearing like a short jacket designed to keep out of his way. He has around his waist a sash tied. It's probably the brightest part of his outfit. And his legs, he's wearing loose silk trousers. And on his feet, he's got tied on some nice grip sandals. They're not sandals like you would have on the material plane. There's no wood involved. These are leather affairs. They look like they have grip on the bottom, which is peculiar for shoes. At his waist, through the sash, he's got two short blades tucked. You presume they're blades because they are in sheaths. They look like they fit together perfectly. And he stands there, arms crossed. He pulls on his pipe, blows out. Even that act looks dejected. And then he says, "Come on then, get up, newbie."
Ilen would get up, pick up the ball and chain, and just. Well, that was an experience.
His eyes like flick up and down, like he very clearly is like,
It's like as his sister's just like crack, 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 just like everything's not happy with how that landed. Okay. Well, where do you want me to go?
Manners. He raises out a hand and says, "LOL."
Ilen. And he would shake. Obviously.
We were told there was going to be another.
Yes. I kind of fell in. What?
Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. So I kind of fell in ahead of my friend.
We noticed. He chuckles.
I assume they'll be down soon. He's trying to like figure out where he came from. Like he's just looking up and obviously I imagine he sees like nothing up.
Alarel looks up. You get the impression that he's looking at a specific spot. And he looks back down and says, want to take a bet?
I don't know what currency you use here.
I'm sure we could work something out. I
Sure.
reckon your friend will land in that net. But furthermore, I reckon that his ball will land right on top of him.
Once more with
Interesting.
feeling.
I'll take that bet.
Well, what are you betting?
I just like I'll just like pull out 10 gold coins. Do these mean anything?
He sort of looks at them, shrugs. It'll do, I suppose.
Okay. Ilen would then start to like try and look to see if he can see anything at all, like any sign that anyone's falling.
So a couple of details. One, which bet are you taking? That he falls in the net, the ball doesn't hit him? Does he misses the net? Like what bet?
Oh no, that he makes the net and the ball doesn't hit him.
Okay, cool. So you go in safety. That's the very Ilen approach.
He's
okay.
not going to bet that his friend's going to get absolutely nuked by the ball.
It's one of those, as they start to notice the other one, which we'll get to in a moment, as they start to notice the other one, others start calling out bets quickly to each other, and you kind of like, just like, you know, gesturing towards him and saying that he's like in on it as well, and kind of like what he's for or whatever. Ilen, the reason why I said that, yeah, the strangest look of them all is because everybody here, the woman that you just encountered that was gaunt and so on and so forth, she was, like I said, like a greenish yellow, right? Predominantly yellow, but like a deeper kind of like greenish color to her. Everybody that's around you, for the most part, has almost like a pale blue skin tone. Almost all of them are like this bluish color. A couple other standouts being different races or whatever, but he's like a pale bluish color. The reason why this character here stood out is because they look, like he just said to you, human, normal.
Which, given everything he's seen over the last couple of days, unusual.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I've only seen one other human or humanoid, like human close to, and that was the what was her name? The mage. Wait, I've got her name. If my mouse would work, Maury.
Oh,
I think that's the only other like human I've seen.
Yep.
So.
Okay, so they're falling. Of course, you can imagine as they're falling, something that catches you off guard that you genuinely finds like, wow, that was incredible, is that when she jumped and she drops down, she actually at one point in time, as she's falling, she literally just kind of grabs the railing of the, like as she's falling on the outside of the crow's nest, grabs the railing of the crow's nest, and like comes to like almost like a stop, like just the sheer force of her might, kind of like reaching down, grabbing it, and by the time she gets to like shoulder's height, stops her, and she and throws herself up and over into the crow's nest from that long fall.
Huh.
And then you see Grishka, who saw her jump in, was like, picks up the ball and jumps in. Grishka, fall on for a bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Want to do me a
Yeah,
favor?
it's bringing back PTSD. So you know he's spent a bit of time doing this type of stuff. So weirdly, that thought process is going to kick in.
Yeah.
What would you like, Scott?
Well, you're gonna have to choose which way is down, but there's really no choice, is there?
I'm just falling, aren't I?
Yeah, you're falling.
Free falling.
So, you're about to, you know, do you hit the net or do you not hit the net?
I don't know. Does it? I don't know how this works, but you know, falling, I can't drop the ball at all and kind of try and use it. Like he would try and use it as a counterweight because of how he was traveling before.
As a counterweight?
Yeah, so like remember before how when they were falling, he made his check but Yara didn't, and he slowed more or less and came to a stop?
Yeah.
That's what he would try to do.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, but there's nothing for you to choose down that's up.
Yeah, so then I'd just fall because I don't know what it is.
So there's a pretty good chance that you actually hit the net itself. I'd say it's a 90% chance that you hit the net itself. What 10 numbers are the numbers that say that you will not hit the net?
Uh-oh.
I don't know. First one in chat can pick it. I don't really care.
No, somebody in chat's gonna roll. So first we need you to find out tell me what numbers are not safe.
90 to 100.
So 91 to 100 are the not safe ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Dunk TV. Hey, buddy. How you doing, Dunky Dunk? Can you do me a favor? Exclamation point D100. Enter.
You'll be fine. I played a witch campaign with Dunce and he can't roll, so don't worry.
Hey.
You hit the net.
32.
However, excuse me. However, whether or not that ball falls under you or on you or beside you is a different conversation. Under you is going to be a 25% chance, 1 to 25. By you, 26 to 75. On you, 76 to 100. And Neil, you've got a stake in this game. Tesh, you've got a stake in this game as well. So why don't we let somebody else roll? What do you say? Green, do you want to roll it? No. Celsier, you get to roll. You know
Green would refuse as well.
Yeah, Celsier gets to roll.
It might damage Jake.
My God, landing on it would be the worst. Oh no!
Oh my God.
Well, let me just remove 10 gold.
You get balls
Just add
on you.
10 gold?
No, not just 10 gold. You're going to be part of the minority of the bet. Falling into it and having that fall on top of you is actually one of the harder things to have transpire, right? So, because a lead ball is more aerodynamic than not. So you imagine it'd be under you as opposed to. Anyways, he was just kicking it around and trying to use it as a counterweight, and it just didn't work. So you don't actually get to walk away with 10 gold. You get to walk away with, let's say, the next 4 people to roll a D100. That total is how much gold?
Holy fuck!
Yep.
He's gonna end up with more gold than me.
So 52 plus
Middle of the pack.
37.
Oh.
89.
Anna.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, sad.
Oh no, the last one was high.
Okay. So you add that up and you get the total. Oh, Shinny's still here. Shinny, did you hear that he didn't make his kitsune the way that you wanted her to be?
He still has a fox form, but reading through the lore, this seemed most appropriate.
No, you're fine. I'm just teasing. So
No, I'm not mad. I was just explaining why. If I had felt the lore different for my character, I would have given him fat ass, fox ears, and it would have been beautiful.
Okay, moving on. So you go landing into this large ass net. Boing. As the ball falls on top of you. Oh my God, that friggin' hurts. It's one of those things where it probably bruised ribs. Like it hurt considerably how that thing just happened to land on top of you. And then you can imagine as the net absorbs your impact. And same as before, dazed and kind of injured or whatever it is, you're looking around and you can see that everything happening. And as you see everybody's watching, you actually see Ilen looking at you with like a bit of horror, and the previously described person tapping Ilen like, "Hey," and Ilen being like, "Oh," and handing him some coin.
You'd see Alera like tucks coin into his pouch, and then he steps forward with a big grin on his face, pipe in his mouth, and extends an arm. Well done, Rocky.
Thank you. He'll take your hand and help himself up.
He gives you like an appraising look, like up and down, and like before he like looked Ilen up and down, like, you do not like me. You're made of stone stuff. But he gives you a look like, the ball hit you and you're still standing. Not bad. He like does the face.
You get a pretty kind of stone face look back, and he's like, "Where to now?"
And with that, you actually hear from the crow's nest up above. All right, back to work. We got to get places. Let's go. And the sails fill themselves. Our people kind of like jump to get to work and start filling up the different areas with what it is that they need to do. I'm going to describe what this looks like, what the ship looks like, and everything in full detail, so you can put it into your mind's eye in a moment.
After a break, Westcott's going to make coffee.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
all
make
of the
coffee.
above. So I will be.
Have you got music playing as well?
Yeah. Why?
Are we changing it to pirate theme music?
No, I actually use.
Dun, 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 dun. That's it, DMCA.
I'm using the music from tabletopaudio.com. And I go to tabletopaudio.com, and then near the top, I press Sci-Fi to see the options they have there. And then the playlist I currently have set for me is In the Shadows, Shelter from the Storm, Protean Fields. Currently, we're listening to The Inner Core. Then there's Abyssal Gaze, Astral Plane, Ethereal Plane, and Dark Matter.
Nice. I was gonna say I love how borderline sci-fi this is. the idea of like this, the nothingness in space, but it's not at the same. I love it.
Yeah.
It's really
Wow,
cool.
you were showing that to 2 people, Shinny? Wowza.
Well, I'm going to go and take a break.
Make a coffee.
Be right back.
Yep.
Bye, everybody. So excited we finally get to play again.
Yeah, it's really high.
Yeah.